And then when I said his name, then what I was going to do, I was going to
Check it.
I'm like, why are you bringing it up? Oh, with the big boy.
Okay, come on over here. Let's sit there. Or do you want to sit on the right? You can sit there. You want to sit there on the right? Was that your house?
I'm glad you were able to get that clear for the athletics.
I know it's time you've ever sat in it.
What?
This is the first time you've ever sat in it.
It is. It is.
Watch mine. As hard as you can try. Let's go this way.
I know we have a couple other people strolling in, but I figured we kind of started kicking it off a little bit. My name is Greg Marchuk, y'all know Dandelion. I was just an old student of Mr. Hagen's.
Wait, if you're an old student, what does that make me?
We won't go there. I did the math. My brother said, oh yeah, it was 16 years ago, 15 years ago, that he was a sixth grader. Which means that was 17 years ago for me. And I was like, oh, that was older. 17 years is more than how old I was then. So, it gives it a little bit of perspective. Anyway, yeah, so I actually was his student for a while. I did a lot of the shows back when we had sets. Anybody remembers that? We have a bunch of cuts, so it really hit the arts hard. There's a few of us left. But anyway, I came back and I helped direct for a number of years, and I was fortunate enough to assist and direct, and we actually bid against each other for who was going to be in our show. We did a one act, and we had a bid, and we had all the faces. I actually have the booklet. I dug it up with all the stickers of like, hey, this one, I got this person. I'm like, oh, darn it. And then he took the next person I was going to ask for, and I'm like, dang. But anyway, enough about me. This is all about how we have all been impacted by Mr. Hagen. Round of applause for that. You know, I honestly don't think that I've met anybody who's been able to impact a group of kids' lives and channel their energy from the crazy energy that I know we have when we're, in middle school, and make something so productive. I talk about it today still when I'm talking to, everybody. I'm a concierge now at a high-end resort in South Carolina. But, when I was telling them about this, I was like, hey, listen, I'm going these days. If you don't give me the days off, I'm still going. So you better figure it out. But I was really telling them, I'm going to see my mentor's, retirement. And they're like, wow, and honestly, there's nobody who's impacted my life as much, and helped guide, my path. Obviously, I'm in South Carolina now, but, part of the reason I'm even in the South to begin with was I was able to take that, I was able to go to Disney World and, work for them and be, as a tour guide to start through the movies, and then became Muxie Dakota, who would hijack the ride and kind of screw up the day a little bit. And, it was a lot of fun. I got to play with, I was a pinstripe suit, revolver toting guy who got turned into a pile of bones. So I don't know if, that doesn't mean that, I got to go play with Disney, which is like the biggest name out there. And, we'll see where that goes in the future. But I remember standing in this room and seeing, a bunch of, at the time, as a middle schooler, you're like, I'm old, I'm getting up there, I'm no longer in elementary school. But you just don't realize just how much you have ahead of you. You also don't realize at that age yet that you're so young. And there was so much energy. There was so much energy from the kids and from you. And I think it was that explosive energy along with the ability to channel, have that creative drive that brought everyone together and create the beautiful productions that you did. So the way that this is going to work for the rest of the time that we have in here, we do have some people that are signed up to talk, and they'll just come up and present whatever you want to present. I figured I'd put this up here. If you want to use it, cool. Some people like to have something to hold on to. If you want to bring up your chair, you can. It's pretty easily set up. I have a couple of people here, and here and there I'll kind of say, hey, if you just want to come up, you're inspired to come up, we'll give you some time to do that as well. And then I'll say a couple of fun things here and there in the middle. But before we get too far, I think we do kind of a fun little group activity. And,
We're good at game.
Do you need me to get the little bean baby guys?
So this one's called Clap It. And if the statement applies to you, just go ahead and clap. So clap if you're a current student of Mr. O'Hagan. Really, Anne? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know you were still a student of his. Current student. Oh, recurring. She came back. She didn't pass. So I wasn't aware of that. And apparently it takes not much to get a job in Chicago anymore. Clap if Mr. Hagan was your teacher 5 years ago. Wow, okay, there's quite a drop off. I'll just jump to mine, more than 15 years ago. Woo. Clap if you are a parent of one of Mr. Hagan's students.
Oh, yeah.
Clap if you are a parent who burned their lasagna because you were waiting for your student to get up at theater rehearsals. Yeah, that was for you. Clap if you had Mr. Hagan for science class. I didn't realize somebody was out of the other one clapping. He was your theater teacher. Clap if Mr. Hagan's made you laugh. Clap if you remember Mr. Hagan's goatee days. Clap if you've seen Mr. Hagan down more than 5 cases of coke single-handedly. Clap if Mr. Hagan has had a big impact on your life. And that's it that I have to say for now, but I know Mrs. Hagan would have something to say, so.
If anyone knows, I did props backstage, and the reason I did it is to spend a little time with this guy because he was here a lot. So anyway, Christy's getting my prop. I just definitely want to thank everybody for being here. It just means the world to me, it means the world to Bill, even though he says he doesn't like these things. But sometimes people are just visiting and need to be told how much they're appreciated. And I'm over the moon that Greg is here, all the way from South Carolina, you know, and I know that Bill has a big influence on him. So anyway, one of the reasons I like to go first was, as with my wedding vows, if you go first, you're less likely to cry. So that's my strategy right there. Okay, all right, so that's my cry. I thought it would be, I have to read, sorry. I thought it might be interesting for some of you to hear how Bill first started in his interest in theater. So as a young boy, Bill took accordion lessons. I would love to have a picture of how he must have looked carrying an instrument almost the same size he was. His sister Libby has some words that she sent. His brother Jay, he also took tap dance lessons.
Ooh.
To this day, Bill is my favorite dance partner. His interest in costuming came at around 2nd grade at St. Alphonsus Grade School in Chicago. The kids were allowed to dress up for Halloween. All the children were dressed as their favorite saint, as instructed by their teacher. Bill came dressed as Saint Yogi Bear. Bill attended St. Benedict's High School, which was a co-ed school that had a reputation for putting on wonderful plays. The first play Bill was in was The Wizard of Oz, and I brought a prop. I bet none of you can guess what character he was. Now, this was his first play. He was a lollipop kid. And I saw this in the Barkey section years ago. I had about. Following high school, both Bill and I were involved in summer theater. No matter what the role he was given, he made it big and memorable. He often was the sidekick, given the most humorous roles, like in South Pacific. And there's a picture out there, which he played Billis the Sailor, dressed in a coconut rod. Who was here? In Hello, Dolly, he was Cornelius Hackle, a poor clerk who convinces his sidekick to have an adventure in NYC. And from that point on, it's pure slapstick comedy. I think I wanted that was supposed to be it. Oh, the ditch digger one. Do you remember it?
No, I don't.
Okay. He knew he was going to get in trouble as a clerk, and he said, "I'd rather dig ditches the rest of my life than not have one memorable day," which is advice to everyone. When we moved from Chicago to a small town west of DeKalb, we found they had an old opera house and a theater group. When they heard we were involved in theater, Bill was asked to direct his first children's play, which was Snow White. The cast was small as the town was small, but boy did Bill create some huge trees for their set. Bill began not only directing, but set building. The adult play that followed was The Nerd. Bill did not even audition. He was asked to play the role of the nerd. In a small town, it wasn't that unusual to be asked to play a role, but then a few years later, he was asked to play that role here in St. Charles at the No Center Idol Theater Group. It's one thing to be asked repeatedly to play the role of a handsome prince, but the nerd? Just what do people think of this man I married? Well, I soon found out when an article was written in the Republican newspaper that reviewed the show. The following are the rave reviews of Bill. The title character, the nerd, provides irresistible when it comes to laugh. O'Hagan plays the outrageous part with keen comedic artistry and an energetic verve that carries the show. Over time, Bill has played many roles. In fact, one play called Leaving Iowa, he played 13 characters in one show. In minutes, he changed from being a hippie waiter to an Amish peddler, a Civil War performer, a mechanic, a park ranger, just to name a few. Each character had a unique accent and a distinct characterization. And I love it because I get to hear those accents and characterizations at home all the time. He's always making me laugh. Bill's first year after working for St. Charles was at Thompson Middle School. That year they were doing the musical Annie. The director was concerned because they were short on boys to play the parts. He especially was looking for someone to play the bald Daddy Warbucks. Now back then, Mr. O had a lot more hair. But the director thought that other than that, he could play this role. So he had to wear a skull cap, and the play turned out to be brilliant. As much as Bill has enjoyed being on stage, it's these past 20 years teaching and directing that give him the greatest joy. He refers to his plays as educational theater. He gets so much joy seeing his students evolve. Behind the scenes, Bill chose a team to work with. One of the first people to work with Bill was Steve Mann. The two of them tirelessly worked together late into the evenings, or should I say mornings, and on the weekend, on those early plays. Pardon?
There were some overnights.
Yes. Such as Into the Woods Jr. I personally always admired that a play was never just about the actors, but the production team. Oftentimes the crew was even larger than the cast, and Bill gave kids the opportunity to learn the light and soundboard and help with set building and all other aspects that go on backstage. Bill often raised his voice, especially during Tech Week. It's just modeling volume and projection. He had high expectations and brought out the best in everyone. Bill's also a softie. I'll never forget when a crew member accidentally sawed through the cord of a brand new, first-time used power tool. Bill calmly asked the boy to do another job. Kids were given a chance to be assistant director, and he allowed for student-directed plays, which allowed for growth and confidence. There are so many faces out here that help to make the theater program as strong as it is. I'd love to mention every one of you. They gave through their gifts of time and talent. In recent years, Janelle Bach gave her talent as the music director, making sweet music. But the dynamic duo who made the cast look awesome has been Mrs. Wyatt and Mrs. Akers. Mrs. Wyatt has been Bill's sidekick. He's been the calm to his storm. He's good cop. She has been everything backstage to Bill. She also taught the kids to do hair and makeup to include aging characters, creating pirate mustaches, a beast, zombies, as well as hairstyles for princesses. Mrs. Akers' creativity for costumes created ghosts, shipwrecked sailors, to elegant royalty in Cinderella, and to the colorful, imaginative characters in Seussical. Although Mrs. Akers retired several years ago, this is a team that couldn't be broken, because what often occurs in the world of theater are lifelong friendships, which Bill and I have both cherished. Over these years, Bill has always given 110%. Anyone who knows him first knows that he never sits down. Really, take a picture. He doesn't even have a desk. He walked, or I should say paced, 10,000 steps a day before it was a thing to do. He worked after hours and on the weekends, never complaining about it. Bill has the energy of that famous Pink Bunny. He has a way of making every kid feel noticed. He's upbeat and has passion and heart for everything he does. Bill, I wish you joy and growth as you leave this stage and move to the next.
No crying.
Somehow, I don't think this is your final curtain. You will continue to touch lives in your next adventure. I'm lucky to be part of your past, present, and future, to see all your different roles and characters. The best one, just being Bill.
Can number 2. And number 1. So, as I was trying to figure out, what I was going to do and what I was going to say, I figured I'd always do what good TV shows do and go back to the source material. For those of us who watch Game of Thrones, sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. And so that's exactly what I did. I scoured some of my old scripts, and I found something that just felt eerily familiar as I come back all these years later. It was actually words from my character from, I believe it was seventh grade, end of 7th grade. It's a play that is called The Game of Catch, and it's a metaphor for a lot of things. It's about a boy and his relationship with his father, as unfortunately his father gets sick, but that his father teaches him so many things as he is growing up in life. I'm going to just read a little bit of that now. It all went by so fast. When I look back on all of it, high school was a blur. Everything went by so quickly. Before I knew it, I was handed applications for college. My guidance counselor kept nagging me to keep my grades up, for these grades are going to get looked at by colleges all across the country. You've got to start thinking about the rest of your life. This is his father talking a little bit later. Give every situation all you got. That way if you fail, no one can say it was for lack of trying. My character speaks again. I had to trust him. I had to rely on his word. I had to rely on all the words ringing in my head. I had to put faith in this game. This stupid little game of catch, but it was no longer a game of catch. No, it was something much more. And, what's so interesting about this is, those were words that I said 15 years ago. And I remember going through those moments, and I remember them with you. And I then went to college, and I went and did all those applications, and it got me all the way across the country. And part of the reason I was able to go all the way across the country was because of the words that you would tell me and the instruction you gave in this very room. And I wouldn't have gotten all the way across the country if it hadn't been for you. Thank you. The next person we have to speak is Christy Warren.
Oh, dang. It's your turn. Thank you. I think everybody probably hear me here. It's a small room. Oh, great. Donna, you did a great job.
Bill is left.
I met Bill in
Come back.
Just last week, Bill came to my classroom and said, "I hate surprises." Okay. And we had a Red Wing event this week, and he goes, "I hate these." So I just wanted to say thank you for being here. This really isn't about you. Clearly, we all have a need to tell you how important you've been in our life. So it's not about you, it's about us having a need fulfilled. And that's to tell you something. I met Bill in 2003. I was hired by Riley to teach theater. It was a brand new class. And in the interview, I was like, okay, but you have a theater here, you do theater, so who is like doing theater? Who's like directing theater? He said, well, the science guy. And I was like, great. Okay. So I made it a point early on to go and meet Bill because I wanted him to know that I would love to participate, but I wasn't here teaching a theater class to like, you know, boot him out. I just wanted to come alongside. So the joy was that within a couple of years, the theater classes had expanded to teaching 3 grade levels. And so Bill and I both got to teach theater, and we taught down in a classroom down the hall, and he came to me and he goes, I think we should build a stage in the room. Okay, great. I hadn't been here long enough, but he'd been here a long time, so it was okay. I'm not even sure he asked anyone, but we built a stage in the classroom, which was super fun. Then our classes, one of the things that was really nice for me is that Bill taught earlier in the day than I did. So I had a planning period while Bill taught. But our desk was in the room, so I would sit and pretend I was working. I was just taking notes on what he was teaching. I remember that. I'm going to use that later today. So that was super handy. Bill and I also took the kids on lots of theater trips. And they all had special memories, didn't they?
Oh, there was that
one.
There was that one.
We would go, I think Les Mis, it was, and you know, we wanted the kids to really understand the show and, you know, talk about the characters. And we'd get back to school and it would be, did you see the cross-dresser? Or like, and then another show, maybe it was Wicked, it was like, did you see the fashion show on Michigan Avenue? Yes, we did. So then we took the kids to see the spelling bee. And we called and said, is this the family-friendly version? And they assured us it was the family-friendly version. And so we took the kids.
You want to say the
No. Bill, what was the memory from that one?
The memory is, what was really great is that the kids who were placed into theater drama class, and they were placed there because they needed a place to go in terms of the schedule. And they were not really theater kids. And they came back and went, you know what? Theater can be really cool. Because there's a song, part of it is there's a little edge to the...
Anne knows very well. She's not even with that.
Yes. Well, there's a song that is called My Unfortunate Erection. And of course, the middle schoolers, they were like, whoa, I know that! So it was really, you know, it was poignant and meaningful to them. Yes. Anyway, so of course, Christy's all nervous, and she's going, oh my, we're going to get parent emails. And I told Christy, I said, okay, you're not tenure. It's all on me. So whatever happens, just say Bill was pushing it was his idea, so that if anybody says anything, it's me. So yeah, it's all my fault.
You covered my back a lot. The story I told the other day was also that PLC started for teachers when Bill and I were teaching theater. And they had a guest speaker come, and...
a hoity-toity person, you know.
Yeah, very knowledgeable in the field of professional learning communities. And they sent each of the core subjects off, Peter being one of them, to decide what our norms would be, such as, you know, we'll respect one another, we will listen to each other, we will
start our meeting on time.
Right, all those things. So Bill and I decided that our first norm would be
Speak in an accent.
So in comes the principal and the guest speaker. They're like, hello.
Oh, no, we're actually it was a bit mellow first. Oh yes, and what will we know when students know what they know, and how will we know they know it? Oh, that's one of those questions you're supposed to know.
And then we busted out, and they left.
No, but then they asked the question. They asked the question. Oh, have you filled out your norm sheet and all this? And we went, yeah. And then they asked, what's your first norm? And then we had to say, we had to talk in an accent. That's when they decided to turn around and walk away.
when you work in a business or a school, you obviously work with a lot of people, and some people become very good friends. Some people you work with every day, and you get along, and that's fine. You're not your best of friends, and then there are treasures, and that's what you do. We are so blessed to know each other's families, to attend each other's weddings, yeah, that's been a great thing for us, and a fun thing for other people at Redling to see how friendships can really build and grow. So thank you, Bill.
I think, man, we're getting the tearjerkers out early, aren't we? Oh boy. You know, I always thought it was really great from a student perspective, and then later on I ended up being an assistant director for a while, is that you always found a place for kids to be a part of it. Sometimes people wouldn't end up being in the show, but you did generally try to choose shows that had a myriad of parts, so that, you know, if they wanted to participate, we had a slot for them, we had a way for them to be involved, and if they didn't do that, they could always be in props, tech, and any of that. And sometimes that was, some of our hardest workers were those who either did make the show, or wanted to get involved in a different way. And I think what was truly amazing is, and I think this is one of your strengths, and you have so many that you have so many things that go right, that you know, and you just do it. I don't know how you do it, but you are able to take strengths in people. You're able to see the strengths that they have, and then you're able to include them and maximize that. And as a kid, to see that and see that an adult believes in them at such an early age and be treated with respect, I think that's, I try to figure out your secrets and be like, how the heck did he do that, you know? But I think that's one of them. I think you respected students. You didn't just say, oh, you're just a kid. You said, yes, you have something to give. I'm going to hold you responsible. If you mess up, you know, I'll be there to help you. But also, if you mess up, like, it was you messed up. You didn't want us to really get away with that. I remember one time we were sitting, we were doing 12 Angry Jurors, and I was just in a weird mood. And I said something to my brother, like, and you're out? I'm like, what? You're out. Come back tomorrow. I couldn't believe it. But I will always remember that, and I was just, I remember, I forget who the principal was at the time, or the principal now. But I remember I was sitting out there on the couch, like, sitting like the thinking man, and she was like, well, what happened? And I was like, I got kicked out of theater today. And I was in the 6th grade or 7th grade. This was my 8th grade show. I thought I was cool. But yeah, I think the one lessons that I learned was to include people and try to maximize what gifts that they have. So, the next thing we have a musical number. So, I don't know how that's going to happen, but we're ready for that.
To those of you that I don't know, that I haven't met, I'm Janelle Bach, and I'm the choir director here at Redling. I've been here for 8 years, and it wasn't just until about 2 years ago that the musical got put on hiatus for a long time, unfortunately, and then 2 years ago we were able to bring it back, and so it's been a wonderful couple of years working with Christy and Kathy and Bill, and threw me right into the family, and it's been wonderful. So, speaking of family, this is a sampling of some of our talent here at Redling. These are some members of our fall musical cast of Into the Woods. And I don't know if Bill and Christine know this, I think they probably do, but we have a Redling choir tradition that at the end of the last concert of the year, we always sing the same particular song. And we have an 8th grade soloist, and we invite any alumni who are in the audience to come up and sing as well. And we thought that this song was appropriate. It's Family from Dreamgirls.
Family friendly.
It is. So my first year, I too did a theater trip to see Grease, and too did ask several times if it was the family-friendly version, the middle school version of Grease, and there was a wardrobe malfunction on stage. and yeah, the song Mooning, they got a whole new perspective. And I too feared emails and parent hate mail, but it was all good, yeah. But it was Bill's fault. He wasn't on the trip, but so I know that all too well. All right.
It's more than you, it is more than me. No matter what we are a family.
This dream is for all of us, this one can be real. No one can stop us now, because of how we feel. It is more than you, it is more than me. Whatever dreams we have, they're for the family. We're not alone anymore, now there are others there.
The dream's big enough for all of us to share.
So don't think you're not going anywhere. You're staying and taking your share. And if you get afraid again, I'll be there. We are a family, like a giant tree, reaching out towards the sky. We are a family, we are so much more than just you and I. We are a family, like a giant tree, growing stronger, growing wiser, and we are growing free. We are a family.
The next person I have, you know what, actually, let's do this. Is there anybody who didn't write their name down who wants to talk? Okay, it's fine, but I just wanted to ask. Cool. Hey,
I'm gonna, hopefully this is somewhere near the middle. And I think this song we just heard really does reflect what this is to me. It's not about me, but it's not also not just about you and God. It really is the us. The lives that we have interacted with, the intersection of all of our lives that I've been able to be a part of. Between my family, my friends, my coworkers, Lynn Stacy, Kathy, Lori, all the people, Donna, all the people that I've worked with in the past, Christy, Janelle, all of us, but also all the kids that we've had. Gosh, it's just amazing that this intersection continues. It's about not just adults to adults, but it's also intergenerational, but it's also from different areas of our lives that intersect. And we create that network. And that network, those relationships are really what's important. Those connections. It's not the piece of product. One of the things I love about theater is at the end, it all goes away. Everything's taken out. It ends. But what remains is the emotion, the feeling, the memories, the connections that we felt in those scenes and in those days that we've done the shows. And through the years, it's all of those connections interwoven into an amazing tapestry of what this is in its life. And I just want to thank you for being a part of mine, but also taking a look around the room to all the different generations and all the different areas of where we have touched each other. That is really what is truly important to me, is my joy to seeing all of you and all the interactions you have been able to have with each other, and all those connections that you've made. And thank you for letting me be a part of all of those interactions. So thank you all very much. Thank you.
And the next person to speak is John Marchak. Anybody? Is John here?
Mr. O'Hagan, what a pleasure to be here. I wanted to represent the parents because, you know what? We have a treasure here, and we've had a treasure here for a long time. And Bill O'Hagan, you are that treasure. I thank you for the way you honestly shared yourself with our kids. I don't know what happened behind closed doors. I just hear pieces. And sometimes the doors would rattle, and there would be screams. And I don't know what technique you used. I mean, let's face it, there are some coaches that are intimidators, right? There are some coaches that are goofballs, or the expert, or the jock. I think you used a strange mix of all of them. My wife and I would say it's a lot like herding cats, we think, because we had several 7th graders and 6th graders, and wow. But what I do want to say is, I've seen a lot of coaches. 4 boys, you see your fair share of coaches. Basketball coaches, baseball coaches, and oh, by the way, thank you very much. I know why he's not playing catch with me. Gotta get that out of my chest. But I've seen a lot of coaches, soccer coaches, and theater coaches. The way you were able to draw out our kids to something that they could be proud of and we could be proud of. It was fun to come into the theater with a sense of expectation, a sense that something fun and good was going to happen. And it did, even when things didn't go perfectly, and you knew they wouldn't. Even when they didn't go perfectly, they went great. Even the failures were awesome. And you and your team were able to create a culture here that we haven't seen anywhere else. And we're astounded, and we thank you.
For any of you that have ever done a show with Bill, you know that we do the table read first, and we kind of get the ums and ahs and trying to figure out the character the first time around. And everybody kind of gets introduced to the new cast, which is always a lot of fun. And then there's about a 2-week process, gotta be at least 2 weeks, where we go through the entire thing, and you have to teach middle school students to say their lines, not only say their lines and deliver their lines, but also where to stand in the room, and which way to point their feet, and make sure that they're cheating, and if I'm looking this way, I'm not really looking at you, I'm looking past you. And as a kid, you kind of go, okay, I get it. Can we just tell the story already? Like, come on, let's hurry this thing up. But it's very specific, like, you have to go here, you have to go there. But what's interesting is, I think, as an adult, is, when you have social interactions, you start to learn that where your feet point actually say something. If you want to really know the intention of somebody, or you want to know if they're honed in on what you're saying, pay attention to their feet. If they're pointed at you, it's a good thing. Talking right to you. Mrs. Lindgren?
Again?
Soon will be June. It is June.
June 1st.
June 1st. Crazy. Didn't I see you again for the first time on June 1st? What are the odds of that? Right?
$1 million to 1.
Seriously, it really is. But I do think it's just interesting that with theater, I think there's so much that we learn just being in theater. We learn to communicate with others. We learn to express our ideas. We learn if someone else doesn't think the same thing as us, we don't necessarily have to be enemies. We can talk it out, or we can express our emotions and find the language in which to build a bridge. And I think you helped a lot of people do that. You helped a lot of us understand complex thought and how that's expressed in emotion and in theater. So thank you. We have another person on the list, and that's Steve.
I'm a last minute addition here. I've been a teacher for 15 years, and public speaking is still not my most favorite thing, so bear with me here. When I was in 6th grade at Thompson Middle School in 1992, maybe, long time ago, I went to the bathroom, and like any 6th grader, I found the bathroom that was the farthest away from whatever room I was in. And on my journey around, I hear this noise out of this classroom, like very loud in there, and I walk over, and I see this giant nameplate, like taped across the top of the door with packing tape, like super low budget. And I'm like, what is that? And what is going on in that room? But as I peered in, every kid looked like they were having a lot of fun. Then fast forward, and I never thought anything about it. I never had Mr. O'Hagan as a teacher. I ended up going to Haynes the year after that, and because that's when Redmond opened. And fast forward to 2000, I was helping out with a middle school production. It was right after Kempels had retired. And I go down into the dressing room, where the boys or girls' dressing room, and this guy is sitting at the desk. Like, what is he doing here? He's the dressing room attendant. I'm like, are you that guy from like Thompson a long time ago? He's like, yeah. So then we started talking every night during these rehearsals, when I was probably supposed to be doing something else. But during that time, we started talking about creating a theater program here at Redling. I guess that had been in the works. So we just started making all these plans, and we became fast friends. And then we came over here the next year, and we started doing shows, and when we came in here, this room was purple. Believe it or not. Purple. All semi-gloss purple. So that was one of the first things we did. We just tried to paint black, and they wouldn't let us paint it black. Nope, can't be black. So we painted it gray. And we took all these panels down, one by one, and spray painted them, and wrote messages behind them, because it was like 2 in the morning, and we were on spray paint fumes. So over time, I think I worked with you for about 7 years. We spent a lot of money and a lot of time together in this room. In fact, I think Donna was talking about there was one night where I didn't come home. And my mom came in here. My parents lived right across the street. My mom came in here and she was screaming at me. This was before cell phones. You couldn't text her. Where have you been? Blah, blah, blah. And she just left. And she walked out the door, and I can't repeat what he said fully, but he said, you know, I would be that really mad at you too. So, but you know, when I knew Bill, and we just, like I said, we spent so much time talking, and about what we don't have a ton in common, you know, kind of like the Odd Couple in a lot of ways, but there is no greater mentor that I have, and there is just, to this day, you know, such a good friend. I have not seen you in 7 years since my wedding, and you know, but I think about you all the time, and I thank you for the seeds that you planted in me, and you know, and I owe you so much. And our time together here was so fun, and I'll never forget it. And I'm also turning in my keys to Redling right now. Since Bill's retiring, I frankly was. And I don't think
give them warning.
Guys, Katie and Sarah, if you guys want to come up.
Okay, I'm Sarah. I'm Phil's youngest daughter, and this is Katie. Hi. We thought that it would be fitting to say the poem from All I Really Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. As my dad knows, that was probably one of my favorite shows that he did way back when sets were a thing. I love that show more than anything, and it has always stuck with me, but it just means a lot to us. So I'll start. All I really need to know about how to live and what to do and how to be, I learned in kindergarten. Wisdom was not at the top of the graduate school mountain, but there is a sand pile at the school. These are the things I learned. Share everything. Play fair. Don't hit people. Put things back where you found them. Clean up your own mess. Don't take things that aren't yours. Say you're sorry when you hurt somebody. Wash your hands before you eat. Flush. warm cookies and cold milk are good for you. Live a balanced life. Learn some and think some, and draw and paint and sing and dance and play and work every day some. Take a nap every afternoon. When you go out in the world, watch out for traffic. Hold hands and stick together. Be aware. Remember the little seeds in the styrofoam cup, the roots that grow down and plants grow up. Nobody really knows why or where, but we are all like that. Goldfish and hamsters and white mice and even the little seed in the styrofoam cup, they all die. So do we. And then remember that Dick and Jane books in the first word that you learned, the biggest word of all is love. Everything you need to know is there somewhere. The golden rule in love and basic sanitation, ecology and politics, equality and sane living. Take any one of those items and exploit it into sophisticated adult terms and apply it to your family, or your work, or government, or your world, and it holds true and clear and firm. Think what a better world it would be if we all, the whole world, had cookies and milk at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then lay down with our blankets for a nap, or if all governments had a basic policy to always put things back where they found them and clean up their own mess. And it is still true. No matter how old you are, when you go out in the world, it is best to hold hands and stick together. That being said, although the show is All I Really Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, I truthfully feel like all I really needed to know I learned from my parents. My dad has been such an inspiration in my life. He has taught my sister and I both a lot about life. He's told us to be grateful for everything. Never leave your shoes untied, because we all know my dad is notorious for always having one shoe untied. I'm very impressed. Another few things is always believe in your faith. Faith is very important to us and comes first in our family. We have always dealt with my dad's modeling of projection at home. We've learned to voice our opinions and how we feel about things. And as I think Greg mentioned earlier, it was about you may not get along with everybody, but you can talk things out, and that's my dad has instilled in me. You don't have to get along with everybody. You can talk it out, and you can move on. I'm just very grateful for the time that you guys have had with my dad, and I've learned a lot from you guys, honestly. I really have. The patience he's had with me and with all of you is phenomenal. So, Dad, here's to retirement. Thank you for everything. And all I really need to know, I learned from you and Mom.
So I think the wonderful thing about theater is exactly that, is there are so many benefits that we get to take advantage of because of things we learned in this room. One of the things I learned was when we were building one of the infamous sets was, besides just the foundational knowledge of how to work a screw gun, which was very useful later on, there were a couple times you went and would get us food from, Portillo's or wherever else, and we went to Portillo's, and you were taking orders, you were trying to see how many hot dogs people wanted. And, we thought at the time we got to choose what went on our hot dogs. And I remember it was very much, no, it's how many you're getting Chicago hot dogs.
Yes.
So take what you're given and don't complain. Next on the list, Ann Church, please come and speak.
Wow, Mr. O, where to begin? I mean, I'm going to repeat a lot of things said already for sure, but this has been, working with you in this program has been hands down one of the most formative experiences of my entire childhood. And I remember it started before the program even started. I remember coming to these shows, watching Greg in shows when I was in 4th and 5th grade, and being so excited to come to these shows. The quality was unreal, and just so much to aspire to, and just coming into Redling. And I would get so excited for all of these shows. I would bawl whenever any of them were over. I remember the first one, you took a chance on me actually, my first show, 6th grade, Acts of Murder. The day of the show, Tech Week can get grueling. I think I came down, I don't know if it was strep, but I was definitely really, really sick and really worried about it, but pulled through. It worked out. But echoing what Greg said, you challenged us all. You were extremely supportive, but you really challenged us to really dive into the emotional depth of the material that we were actually performing. I think you really created more empathetic individuals throughout this program. And the impact that you've made has really been lasting. You really did challenge us. We had a lot of fun. And you really cared about us a lot. I remember, we worked hard. We would have rehearsals some days that we had school up. But I was excited to come. We were so excited for it. And you really listened. I remember telling you one time, I think, that I had never flown a kite. And you went out, and you actually bought a kite. And we actually went outside to fly one. So, you just really went above and beyond and cared so much about everyone in this program, and really the impacts are so lasting. I think that my emotional maturity upped in age because of how much you pushed us to really be mindful and conscious of what we're performing. I value creativity. I think I feel confident speaking to a large room for my job now because you really instilled that in all of us. So thank you so much for everything that you've done for all of us, for all of the coaching and mentoring, and so grateful for you, Mr. Rock.
Number 3. I knew the whole thing about, the grasshopper and overtaking the whole fun. Got it. Next is Trevor Marco. Mr. O. That's so funny that they mentioned Acts of Murder because Greg found my script. Yeah.
And it's so funny because all the notes are illegible. Hopefully I took some of these to heart. I think I did at least. But I wrote some stuff out just because you have meant so much to me and my family. And I wanted to make sure I was able to say it all. So none of it is necessarily new, but I think that says so much about what you really have meant to us. And it's been a really consistent message. So first of all, congratulations on your retirement. You deserve it. You have so much to be proud of as a teacher, as a director, and as a mentor. I entered middle school 15 years ago, like Greg mentioned, and like many others, I felt a little lost, a little scared, and I was just looking for a place to belong. I was very fortunate to find that rather quickly in this exact room. So like I said, my first play was Axe and Murder, and I recall being very excited that I got the very dramatic death scene to end the first act. Back when you could do death scenes, I guess. Unfortunately, I don't remember much else about the plot. I was looking through it, and it's a pretty wacky play. I don't know how you came across it. But what I do remember is feeling like I had a home and making friends during a very certain time of my life. I know I'm not alone in that feeling, and I think everybody has echoed that. So thank you for giving me that, and so many other students before and after. Even when school felt boring and dry, I always had playgrounds to look forward to. Thinking back, I was always so proud of the productions we put on because you made each member of the cast and crew feel like a true collaborator in the project. When you gave us directions, I never felt like I was being talked down to. You always let us make decisions and you let us put our fingerprints on the production. I think that's really unique. I remember being asked all the time, why do you think your character is doing this? And I think that is such a great question to lead us rather than tell us. I think that says so much about your teaching style. And it means a lot to me. Your ability to speak with 11, 12, and 13-year-old students on a level and make them feel like they have true ownership and outcome is truly unique, and we are all better because of it. The confidence that gave me in a time that I needed it most is really hard to put into words. You've given me so much. The ability to see things from another perspective, a love of storytelling, and friendships that have lasted a lifetime. It's really good to see Anne again. And actually, last March I just stood at Nick Womack's wedding. You casted Nick as a butler in Lagoon as our ship captain. Unfortunately, Nick did not let me wear the captain's hat to the reception. I was very bummed about that. But I can't tell you how much you meant to my family as well. For 8 straight years, there was a workshop learning from you in this theater, which is honestly just a testament to your patience. So even beyond middle school, though, you continue to make an impact on me and my family who come to high school shows, graduation parties, and just watch us grow up. So thank you for building into us, and thank you for believing in us to march us to our family. Retire confidently, knowing that you have mattered to the lives of so many students. You've mattered immensely to mine. Cheers.
Is this been happening all day? Ouch. Okay, so the next person I get to welcome up is somebody who has always been your sidekick, always been there to support you, and has just always been somebody who you can rely on. Mrs. Akers, please come to the front.
Well, I'm going to start off by telling you, Carter, you want this back? I will want that back.
Well, those are from the days when he wasn't on stage.
Well, I'm going to kind of change the tone here a little bit and tell you, quite frankly, I never liked you.
The feeling was no.
Actually, you've been talking about how long ago you were here in school with him. And when Bill finished his last play a few months ago, my son happened to be here right about the time when we were cleaning up because I had his daughters with me. And we figured out that my son, who is now 41 years old, was in his first class. And we all kind of went, oh. That was kind of a shock to all of us when we put two and two together. Oh, okay, that works. So I really know about Bill. I know about since that time when Bobby was in 7th grade. Then years later, I was given the opportunity to know the right people, because back then you could know the right people and get a job, to work here at Redmond. And probably the best experience I've ever had in my life, and the most fun I've had working anywhere. And after, and Steve mentioned this, when we started plotting and then they were going to begin a theater program, Bill approached me and asked me, and I'll never forget, because it was down this hallway, and asked me, would I be interested in doing costumes for the plays? I'm like, I don't know anything about theater. I don't know anything about costuming. But you could be able to do a good job with it.
I had great insight.
So, and we had nothing. Absolutely nothing. And we started from scratch. And everything we did. And my favorite shopping store became the Goodwill over here. They came to know me quite well. And it's amazing what you can do with things that you find there. I had two parents that were fantastic, that would go off and get the right things for us. And suddenly we began to have a costume department that was a lot of fun to work with. But Bill always offered us a few challenges. And he'd throw you a wrench every now and then. So, everything's underway. And, oh, by the way, did I tell you I added 4 more people to that scene? And they all have to be in red and white. It was 8, but now it's 12. But they all have to be in red and white for that scene. Got it, Bill. Under control. What do I do now? Oh, I didn't tell you I added a dragon.
Extra dragon.
We had one, but now we need 2. That's right, Bill. Got it. Not a problem. Christian, but kill him. So those were just little fun things. This was mentioned before, because when we all get together and talk, we talk about the silly things that have happened. We talked about the kid that cut the cord on the new tool, and I started thinking about the boy who drilled the holes in the floor over here in this hallway.
We don't mention that because they're still there.
And Bill was
Kyle.
and Bill Clackman moved him on to another job.
Well, I just moved that was Christie's first year with the Cinderella, and they were creating this huge carriage, and they were, drilling all these pipes and putting them all together. They were doing a great job. I couldn't move them because they were actually high school students coming back to do the job, and they needed them to do it. So I couldn't move them off the job. I just moved the job.
And then didn't mention it for a long time.
We haven't mentioned it in years. So tonight.
One of Christie's of my favorite memories was one of our actresses who was not feeling well that day. And she was a trooper. She came in and sang her part, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the. No. But she was on the stilts. Yes. Okay, and I know it was from Fiddler. And we didn't know the door there was done. I want my father! And then there were the 12 young ladies that we had to turn into zombies. So in intermission, we had to change, we had to paint them green. It was spray painted green. We were zombies. And Bill kept coming back saying, are we ready? Can we got 5 more to go and we're done.
We went outside and they were just like, okay, come on.
That's exactly right. Fortunately, we came up with green tights, so we were thinking ahead. And then we had one child that decided that she was our star, and she almost missed being on because she took the day off of school so she could get her hair done, her nails please. Oh, she does? But she decided when she was in between scenes and she was getting her next costume on that she's going to match her makeup to her costume. So she had a beautiful red suit on. And I come back and she's got red lipstick.
Well, this is a young lady who probably hadn't used a lot of makeup in her life.
Oh, she had fun that time.
Oh, she had, it looked more like a 4-year-old did it for her. So, yeah.
Fortunately, at that time, Bill had a student teacher who very calmly took her and fixed it as I went, I got a costume change up here. So those are just some of our fun remembrances of all this. I want you to know how thankful I am over the years for having been part of this. And once again, I'll say I knew nothing about theater, but you've taught me a lot. And I enjoyed being here, watching the kids grow. I have some of my favorite shows, some of my favorite actors through the years. But yeah, just watching you work with those kids and see what you could draw out of them and hearing everything that's been said, knowing that you did that to me too, what you drew out of me, because I had no idea I could put costumes for 30 kids together. And I managed to do it for 20 years. So I appreciate the fun I had doing that. I hope I never have to do it again. But now I know, as I'm following my grandchildren through school now, it may happen again. So when we put this together, this whole little party here was the brainstorm of Bill's wife Donna. But
now I know who to blame. Thank you.
Donna, Christy, and I had several meetings to prepare for this. And just like in anything else, we all used our own personal talents to put this together. So Christy was, here in the building running things. Donna was in the background organizing things. And my job, going back to costumes, was to prepare a gift for you. So, this is what...
Be afraid.
No, don't be afraid. This is what I made for you. And it's really from all of us. So these are the t-shirts that we were able to save over the years. And X Murder is on you guys. So, and we even have the cast. Because the cast was on the back of the shirt. So this is for you to snuggle on to. So that is for you. Oh, and by the way, here in the middle, because
Gosh, that's ages.
So we want you to have that. So and this is your little bag that can go with that, and the card is from me, but the bike is from all of us. They all contributed that. Now, moving along with that, somebody else is behind this year also. And I thought she needed a gift. This is not a theater, because we didn't want to go the same route. But I went the route of social studies. So you keep that in mind as you look at it. And my grandchildren had so much fun picking out that. So this is oh, look how fun this is. Oh, wow. What? Upside down. Oh, we're upside down, sorry. So we found this piece, and every other piece has something to do with countries. Oh, it's beautiful. And then that's all going through and picking those out. James is doing a lot of snuggle with and once again, I'll say Bill and Chris, because this is an experience about one that I'm so glad that you got involved in all those. That's very good.
No, I'm 48 years old.
Well, we've all shared a lot of what we had to say, and I'm sure there will be more thoughts in the coming week, possibly as people who couldn't make it may reach out to you now that it's no longer hey, surprise! But we have Donna has some closing words, and then we'll do one of our old traditions.
I'm not sure.
You should tell.
In Bill's room, there is a sign that says, "Gibble, where are you?"
Oh, she had to leave.
Made for him. And on it, it counts on retirement. And one of the kids said to me, "What are you going to do afterwards?" No. Mr. O'Hagan wrote cemetery. And I was like, cemetery? That's terrible. And so another girl went up to it and she goes, "I don't think that's the way you spell cemetery." It's seminary. Seminary. So that's what Bill's doing, not cemetery.
Well, eventually, maybe. It's a very seminary moment.
Well, we all go. We learn that in kindergarten. We all go. All right.
Okay. I'm going to start with you, Bill, because you know what this is.
I do.
Yes.
Have I seen it before?
Yes.
Oh,
You've seen this before. I don't know how we found out, but we ordered this little award for him. And since he knew about it, I decided to throw him off about this party and presented it the other day at work to hopefully throw you off. So, the award says to Mr. Hagan, Best Director, thank you for 19 or 20 years of dedication. Bill doesn't like things to be all about him. So I added a couple people here.
Thank you.
First of all, one of the things, if you know Kathy Akers, you'll know, where is she? Right there. Is her thing about socks. So one of the cast members in recent years couldn't be here today, Susan Tokarski, sent me this picture, and I thought I'd have it framed for you of all from all the different socks worn in that show.
Oh, no, this was from the Susan.
I was going to say.
Because in Cinderella, I made them all wear different socks too, and you know when they try on the shoe, so they all had to be socks. But yes, this is from
And we also have a little award, Kathy Akers, Best Costume Designer. Our thanks from the Redland Middle School Theater Program. And then, of course, our Christy. We have a word for our Christy. I have to say that word with love. And her says, this is why I thank you for your love and dedication to Redland Middle School Theater Program.
Thank you for everybody that came here today. This was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that we were all able to show up. I know that there were a lot of people who wanted to come, but unfortunately are now in other states and that sort of thing. But thank you everybody for taking the time. It really means a lot to not only Bill, but to everybody, and it was just great to share these moments together. It really kind of is nice to bring, put a bow on everything. I had one final thing from the script that I was reading from 15 years ago, and it was the sum up of the play. It said, "Never give up, always be yourself, and always give it your best." And I think that's a great thing to look forward, moving forward. This is the end of your time as a teacher here, but it's also the beginning of something new, as I know that you're going to be going to seminary. and we all wish you the best with that. I think that there's a lot to go forward from this. So not only is this the end of something, but it is the beginning. And as the beginning of something, as we do with all of our shows, it's time to do a shakedown. For those of you who don't know what this is something we would do before each one of our shows. It's just part of near and dear to the heart of everybody. Essentially, what you end up doing is you count to 8 and you shake, and you switch to your other arm, your foot, then your other foot, and then we count the number, so it goes 8, 4, 2, 1. So we'll do that.
All right, everybody ready? Right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.